Shalom, shalom. I want to begin by giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, Bahashem Rakakodash. Double honor to the elders and to the pastor of Great Millstone, and enough respect to the brothers that are out there pushing and spreading the truth, which is the gospel of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, to the four corners of the world. Now, through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushua, I realized that I didn't, bring out the most important information about this book that I had been doing a series on. Okay, so the last session, this is the final video that I'm going to do on this book. Or this is going to be the last of the series, but let's just get through this real quick because it's an important piece of information, and that if you don't know this, you read the book in vain, pretty much. Well, not in vain because some truth got out, but you know what I mean. So the last chapter is plea the sixth. So I'm just gonna avoid making any comments on it because I'm not a lawyer and I can't give any legal advice. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just reading the book. All right. Okay. So you have the right to remain innocent. Final chapter, plea the sixth. Okay. It says anyone who understands what's going on during a police interrogation, ask for a lawyer and shut up. And pretty much that's it. So I can only have one hand, so brothers forgive me for this. It says if you are asked any question by the police officer or a government agent and you realize that it is not in your best interest to answer, you should not mention your Fifth Amendment privilege or tell the police that you wish to exercise your right to avoid incriminating yourself. In this day and age, there is too great a danger that the police and the prosecutor might later persuade the judge to use that statement against you as evidence of your guilt. And if they do, to make matters much worse, you have no guarantee that the FBI agent in your case will not slightly misremember your exact words. Even if you take care to say, I wish to invoke my right under the Fifth Amendment against self-incrimination, you have no guarantee that the agent will not testify months later at your trial that he said he will not talk because the truth will incriminate him. Even if the police officer only gets a few words wrong, it only takes a slight rewording of the privilege to make it sound like a confession. So what do you do instead? Instead, you mention your Sixth Amendment right to a lawyer, and you tell the police that you want a lawyer. All right. Oh shit. Salakia, this is gonna be very annoying. It says, is that honest? Not entirely, because it sounds like you are implying that you might be willing to talk to them after a lawyer shows up. And of course, that is not true. Your lawyer will not agree to that, all right? But a little dishonesty is a small price to pay to defend your freedom and your constitutional rights, especially when dealing with police officers who will lie to you until the sun goes down. But jump down to the point. It says, but how do you request a lawyer? There is no need to be rude naturally. And most people instinctively recognize that fact. The police officer does not deserve your disrespect because he or she is only doing his or her job in a criminal justice system that is terribly out of control. Unfortunately, far too many individuals in the real world go in the opposite direction and for some reason think that they need to be overly polite to the police. They seem to instinctively fear that they might come across sounding a little rude or disrespectful if they make their request too confident or unequivocal. So here are some of the things that actual criminals suspect have said in real cases when they were trying in vain to end the interrogation and keep themselves out of trouble. So one quote says, maybe I should talk to a lawyer. And by the way, he's telling you what not to say, okay? And so don't end the video here. It says, one quote says, maybe I should talk to a lawyer. Another says, but excuse me if I'm right. I have a lawyer present. If I'm right, I can have a lawyer present through all this, right? I think I would like to talk to a lawyer. What time will I see a lawyer? I think I want a lawyer. I can't afford a lawyer, but is there any way I can get one? Could I call my lawyer? I think I need a lawyer. Do you think I need a lawyer? Every single one of those above quotations was taken directly from the mouth of a criminal suspect who was trying to ask for a lawyer, but who tragically decided that he might sound more polite and respectful if he did not act too confident about his desire. In every one of these cases, the police ignored the suspect's tentative and mealy-mouthed expression of interest in a lawyer, persisted in their questions, and successfully managed to get him to make some damaging statements, not necessarily a confession that could be used to help convict him. And the court concluded that such statements are admissible against the suspect because he had not made clear and unequivocal request for a lawyer. Like it, man. In dealing with the police, that kind of kindness is a tragic mistake. It says, even when you try to express yourself rather directly and forcefully when talking to the police, you may become the tragic victim of the ambiguity of your unarticulated punctuations. Theo Sessoms was only 19 years old when he learned that he was being sought for questioning by California police officers in connection with a murder. On the advice of his father, he turned himself in to the authorities, and he was later questioned by the police after spending 4 days in custody. At the very beginning of the interview, even before he was told about his right to remain silent, Sessom tried to prevent them from questioning him. But in an unfortunate desire to sound as polite as he possibly could, he expressed himself this way. There wouldn't be any possible way that I could have a lawyer present while we do this. Obviously, that would not be enough to do the trick. But then he went on, and here I'm typing it just as he said it on the recorded statement, without adding any punctuations, and said, yeah, that's what my dad asked me to ask you guys. Give me a lawyer. You see the problem? Of course. Although Sessom, it's like I'm having a hard time holding this book open. Although Sessom knew that his statement was being recorded by the police, he did not actually dictate the punctuations that he had in mind. So the recorded statement was ambiguous as to which of the following statements he meant to say. That's what my dad asked me to ask you guys. Give me a lawyer. That's what my dad asked me to ask you guys to give me a lawyer. It says, if Sessom had simply told the police without hesitation or equivocation, give me a lawyer, that would have been the end of the interview. Okay? And that is the trick. This is the only thing that should come out of your mouth, and you should be confident. Okay? So we're just going to finish that off. Only got 2 pages. So, yeah, see it right. It says the only one way to avoid this problem when you ask for a lawyer, do not worry about sounding polite, because that will make you sound unduly tentative or equivocal. Never ask the police officer what their opinion might be. In fact, do not ask any questions when you insist on the presence of a lawyer. Don't even use the words I think or might or maybe. You need to say, with no adverbs, in only 4 words, I want a lawyer. And then you need to say it again and again and again and again and again and again, right? Until the police finally give up and realize that they are dealing with someone who knows how our legal system works. Now, of course, this isn't a shield against the wickedness that goes on in this place. It is by the grace of Yahweh Bashim Yashai that we are who that we live comfortably. Okay, so this is an extra, something extra to to keep you equipped, but realize that your salvation, your true freedom, okay, to put your entire trust not in things like this, but in Yahweh Bashim Yahshai. All right, but nevertheless, it's also good to use. So have that wisdom and move through life properly. So with that, I hope edification goes out. This is the end of the series. So if you have the right to remain innocent, I cannot believe it took me a while to do this video. I thought I had already done it, but yeah. So I want a lawyer. That's the only thing that should come out of your mouth. And I think he has some this is an actual case. So if you want to read the statements, how they court records, you can reference these, and everything he says is true. Could I call a lawyer? I think I would like to talk to a lawyer. I can't afford a lawyer, but not all these are off. So with that, I hope edification goes out to the brothers that are listening. I want to say shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yashai B'Rakatham. To the few Akwafs that are also listening in truth and sincerity, I also want to say shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yashai B'Rakatham. And this is the end of the series. I hope to also make a series about this, and it shows us the I guess the subliminal laws and policies of the United States government in the I think in the late 20th century and early 21st century. So I'm just going to get into it, and it's going to be a long read because I don't always have time because I work. But through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yashai, I'll try to the best of my ability to bring out as much information as I can, and then edify the church. So with that, shalom, Yahweh Bashim Yashai B'Rakatham.